the house. So check it. This is the United States Private Enterprise Free State in on the check on with another public announcement. So check it, my people. Gather in on a Sunday. Gather in on a Sunday, my people. Gather in. This is the United States Private Enterprise Free State in on the check on with another one, a Top Gun one, y'all, my people. The title, Replaced. All right. How many people have been erased, then replaced? So, we're going to get into this one, my people, because this is a hot topic. Replaced. Now, did we all not see Nicki Minaj up on Trump's panel saying that about the gold card, because she got a gold card from Donald Trump, 15 G's, and it gives you a milli on it, okay, with a lot of benefits. So, my people, that is part of the topic that is really, really hot, okay? Because if you go back and look at it, what Nicki Minaj said was off the chain. Was she replaced? Yo, I'm just saying, for entertainment purposes only, my nigga. But you know, we really gonna get into it. This is the drop on it, okay? You know, here at the United States Private Enterprise Free State, we always giving you the drop on what is really going the fuck down. Okay? We are always giving the drop. So, what we about to drop on you is what's about to go the fuck down. And if this doesn't wake you up, then we don't know what will wake these niggas up out here. But we gonna get into this because this is definitely where it's at right now, my people, okay? Right now. This is where it's at. Replaced. The portrait hangs in storage room 47B of the Hofburg Palace Archives. So you know where the archives to go look in to get the info. Because you have to go to their archives if you know what I'm talking about. It's labeled France, Joseph II, dated 1847. But the bone structure is wrong. So not only have they replaced you through everything else, but the bone structure. Okay? So if the bone structure is wrong, my people, what is that telling you? Let's move on. The archivist noticed it 3 years ago. Okay? So this was 1847. So 3 years ago would be 1843. That she noticed the bone structure had changed in the people. So she's been measuring portraits ever since 47. Paintings, same families, same impossible pattern. The measurements don't match. Skull width increases by 8 centimeters between 1843 and 1851. You know what I'm saying? So there was another species that conquered the planet before these people and replace them. Should we go on? Eye spacing widens by 2.3 centimeters. Cheekbones sit higher. The mathematical analysis is definitive. These cannot be the same people. Artistic license, her supervisor said when she showed him, but she's measured 400 Habsburg portraits spanning 3 centuries, 300 years. A century is 100 years. She knows what artistic variation looks like. This isn't that. That's what she found out when she was going through the archives, and she actually worked for the company at that time, who had a trust. This is replacement. She herself said, this is replacement. The storage room smells like old varnish and something else, something that makes you want to leave. So she was in the deep depths of this motherfucking place of where they replaced people. So it said, the storage room smells like old varnish and something else. So when you smell something that smells like that and you're in that vicinity, that is death. Straight the fuck up, and you need to get the fuck out quickly. So now it goes on. The storage room smells like old varnish and something else, something that makes you want to leave. Death. When you smell that, if you ever in your life smell death, you want to get the fuck up out of it. Now, anybody in certain fucking positions, they know what death smells like when you work in the health field industry. So, the fluorescent lights hum at 47 hertz. The fluorescent lights hum. It didn't say we fucking flicked the switch on. It didn't say we turned something up to make the lights go on. It said the lights hum. So it was on a whole nother frequency at 47 hertz. So can it be the acoustic range of that certain instrument, musical instrument, that at 47 hertz, you can hover? You would be able to actually fly like a bird. We, sentient beings or humans or whatever you want to call us. Now, we're going to go on, and it says, your ears adjust, but never stop hearing it. Your ears adjust, but never stop hearing it. So when they're talking about the ringing in your ear, and they're trying to say it's that other disease, some type of disease they call it, for the ringing of the ear, they're lying to you, because the ears adjust but never stop hearing it. It's the sound within your pineal, which is connected to the nervous system, the central nervous system, that you are always going to hear that hum. That is the wireless connection between you and the entire universe. This is how they moved galactically without anything, was through the power of the hum within the mind. Because the mind cannot move without the hum. And the hum is the frequency that you always hear and it disappears when you get busy. So that's what they do. They keep you busy so you don't hear the hum. So as we go on, your ears adjust but never stop hearing it. She's standing next to the painting, number 23. So she's standing next to the painting, number 23. So 2 and 3 is 5, straight up. So her hands don't shake anymore when she points out the differences. They shook for the first 6 months. The nose bridge, she says quietly, look at the nose bridge. 1843 to 1851. The nose bridge of the humans on this planet right now, after 1851, the nose bridge has changed. So, 8 years, the angle changes 14 degrees. So after 1851, here on in America, the nose bridge in the past, the angle has changed. It changes 14 degrees. So it was a whole new species of people on the planet. Straight up. Cartilage doesn't restructure itself. Cartilage doesn't restructure itself. The Vienna archives employ 47 people. So the Vienna archives employ 47 people. She told 3 of them what she's found. She's told 3 of them what she's found. 2 transferred to different departments. 1 retired early. She's 34. So, the lady is 34 between in 1843. So you would add up her age to what she would have been now if she is even still living. She has a daughter. She didn't be telling you this. But she is, because in storage room 47, portraits. So if you go to the Vienna archives, and once you get into the Vienna archives, you ask for storage room 47. You should be reading something from those papers in room 47. And we've been there. So, and it goes on. She is, because in storage room 47, portraits of people who stopped being themselves somewhere between 1843 and 1855. So they stopped being themselves. These people just either completely had amnesia, or they were replaced. Okay? So, and someone went to extraordinary lengths to make sure no one noticed. So, as they started to genetically change the structure of the species that would enter the planet, they went to extraordinary lengths to make sure no one noticed. So, all the distractions that you have before you is so that you do not notice how the species is changing right in front of your face. So, if you look at this right now, dealing with the president of the corporation and dealing with other real kings and queens holding real assets of gold and silver. So the corporation is always going to do business with the nigger is a god, to those gods and goddesses and kings and queens and those of status of nationality correction upon whatever status you choose to be, because it is your right to choose your status. So basically, it's upon that, on how this situation has come down right now on this planet, because whatever made them forget, okay, and this is dealing with the Habsburg, because the names changed after the Habsburg. So it was the Habsburg who were the conquerors at that time. They erased the records, because this is what every conqueror does. They erase the records and then they replace them. So you motherfuckers have been replaced. Straight the fuck up. So it's right here. It's right here. I mean, you can't make this shit up. She is, because in the storage room 47, portraits of people who stopped being themselves somewhere between 1843 and 1855. And someone went to extraordinary lengths to make sure no one noticed. The Hofburg Palace complex, the Hofburg Palace complex sprawls across 240,000 milligrams of central Vienna. Tourist photographer. So if His Holiness comes from Vienna, and Vienna is part of Spain, and Spain is where the Pope, His Holiness, is, I mean, is this not telling you the fucking truth? The imperial apartments, they don't know storage room 47B exists. It's not on the public maps. Priorid immersive world building for extended narrative foundation. So PRIORIDE, immersive. And that's the world building for extended narrative foundation. So if you're looking for your family tree, you're going to have to go on a motherfucking journey. It is a journey of travel. And that is your journey when you go back to see, or not even go back, when you start on the path of the road of being unreplaced, okay? Because this segment is called Replaced. But if you keep listening, you will understand how to unreplace yourself. And unreplace is called status correction. So basically, I need to establish the anchor location deeply here. They're telling you it was never the surface of the planet. Royal people don't live on the surface of the planet. Okay? So that is another number 2 that knows how you were fucking placed. Okay? So let us go on. So it said right here, it's not on the public maps. You'll never see it on a fucking public map, y'all. PRI, immersive world building for extended narrative foundation. I need to establish the anchor location deeply here. It's inside. It's not on the surface. Our most ancient of ancientest motherfucking people lived in the inactive volcanoes. The, because that is how you become a giant. Because all the herbs and minerals of everything on this galactic, wherever we are, has everything in inactive volcanoes. The atmosphere and the temperature is just right. You don't have to modulate anything in an inactive volcano. That is where all our people still are, and I'm going to prove it to you. I need to establish the anchor location deeply here. This is where 670% of the video will occur. Need extended atmospheric description. Make it feel real. Make it feel real. The archives occupy the northwest wing behind walls that were white once. So they were white once. The paint has yellowed to the color of old paper. The corridors are narrow. The ceiling is low. Pipes run along the walls wrapped in in, SPEESTOUS. Someone decided wasn't worth removing. Storage room 47B is at the end of the third corridor. The door is oak, original to the 1720s. So she researched this shit back to the 1720s. The handle is brass, worn, smooth by 300 years of hands. 300 years, these people that she uncovered what they were doing, they ruled for 300 years doing this shit to the people as slaves because they were under mind control. So the room inside is 8 millimeters times 12 millimeters north, facing windows that haven't been cleaned since reunification. When was the first unification? Okay, it says it right here. Windows that haven't been cleaned since reunification. So there was a unification at one time, and it always ends up being reunification because the victor keeps erasing the record and replaces the record with what they have for themselves to rule over people that will never know the truth. So this is what's been going on. And this because we have been to the archives, you know what I'm saying? So basically the light comes in gray, 17 metal shelving units. The light comes in gray, 17 metal shelving units. There were 17 metals, okay, that they were using at that time over the people. So they mixed the elements differently, which means that the air was different. So you can kill a species of people just by the air quality if you know how to poison the air. What they do is chemtrails. So you think about it. Each one holds approximately 40 portraits face out, stacked 3 high. The paintings that don't fit the narrative, the ones the the paintings that don't fit the narrative, the ones that raise questions, Dr. Relina Moravich, Moravich, has worked since 2019. So she went from 1843, 1719, and now she's all the way in 2019 with this information that nobody is looking at. She's a restoration specialist with a degree in forensics art analysis from the University of Vienna. She was hired to catalog and preserve the secondary Habsburg collection. She discovered the impossibility in month 7. I was doing facial measurements for the database. She says she's sitting at the work table in the center of room 47B. The table is metal, industrial. The surface is scarred from 80 years of use. Standard archival procedure. Measure, photograph, document. Her voice is steady. Now it wasn't steady the first time she tried to tell someone, because she knew some shit. And back then, you know, they cannot risk their shit getting told and uncovered because they had to make their money, their currency. The corporations were off. France Joseph II, painted by Anton Inlay in 1843. Anton Inlay, could be Enlil probably. Who the fuck knows? In 1843. So, beautiful work, perfect preservation. I measured the facial landmarks for database entry. She pulls out a photograph. The painting shows a man in his 30s, strong, jawline, deep set eyes, prominent cheekbones. The bone structure suggests Central Asian heritage. So, we all know that the Central Asian heritage was a very dark-skinned people. And then the skin got lighter and lighter and lighter. The features that would later be called Tartarian. So all the places that we talk about right now, Tartaria, all of these places, right? Any place. It's the people. The people create the place. So 80 years later, 1851, same subject painted by Frederick Fauna, Friedrich, first name Fauna, Fona, or that could be the last name. Who the fuck knows? Merrill, Merril. She places a second photograph beside the first. The face is different. Not aging, different. The skull shape has changed. The eye spacing has widened. The cheekbones sit higher on the face. The jaw is more angular. These measurements, she says, pointing to her notes, represent an 8 centimeter increase in skull width, 2.3 centimeter change in interpupillary distance, a 14-degree shift in nasal bridge. So she's still saying it's a 14 shift with the nasal bridge. She looks up, her eyes are gray, they don't blink much. The human skull doesn't do this. So the human skull does not blink much. Not in 8 years of when she started on this journey, when she started researching this shit. So it says, not ever. This is not the same person. So she peeped back then that they were switching people out. Sleeves, you know, They showed you that in all the movies, how you could go in the basement of these places and you'll see sleeves, um, a coat, a human coat, a human shell bathed in water, you know, that's how they keep it. And then they transfer a soul. So basically, um, this let's say not in 8 years, not ever. This is not the same person. The silence in room 47B has weight, the kind of silence that makes you aware of your heartbeat. Right. Because when you find out the truth, you stop and then you come right back. Whenever your heart stops, boom, it's the truth. Straight up. I found 46 more. She says quietly, 47 total. All Habsburg connected families, all between 1843 and 1855, all showing the same impossible transformation. She stands, walks to the shelf, unit 7, pulls out the painting 24, Archduke Wilhelm, Wilhelm, 1844. Look at the bone structure. Then painting 25, same subject, 1852, different skull. Then painting 26, 27, 28, each one showing the same pattern, faces that change too much, bone structure that shouldn't shift it. Someone replaced them. She says between 1843 and 1855. So they learned how to clone. They had all of the cloning centers underground, right beneath you. So every time you gave blood, you know, somehow, some way it can get to the cloning lab. And, you know, when you sit down in the music industry, you know, because like I know one contract that I sat down with, my homegirl Tantra, you know, was there with me. Zawida, she had a different last name right now. She got long dreadlocks, yada. So we sitting down with fabulous grandfather at the table, cutting a deal, okay? And basically he pushes the contract around to all of us, okay? And basically you really don't read those contracts. You're going to sign that shit because that is what you want to do. And especially, you know, but there's one person out of the signing that read the contract. We all sitting there. Tantra read the contract. Okay. And she looked at me and she pushed her contract over to me and said, pointed at the part in the contract that said, that they have the right to make clones of you. It was in the contract. I didn't see it. I was going to sign the contract. You know, fuck that out. You know, if you're an artist, you sign the contract because you want your music to be heard. Straight up. So we didn't sign the contract because she knew something that I didn't know. That what I just read to you was how the whole music industry, I'm not saying this, but it's coming from this lady's research and words of how people have been replaced and don't remember. So I seen it in a contract for myself, so I know it's for real. I know that that is real of the clones. They put that in contracts. They really put that shit in contracts. I read it. I saw it with my own two eyes. So they have the right to clone you in the music industry when you sign in major contracts with the major record labels. That's the only time you're going to get a contract like that. So if you sign it, who the fuck knows? But I do know that they all get a same look. Now, as we go deeper into what this chick is saying, and this is research that has come before us, and has come straight out of their own archives. And I told you all the archives that you can go look in to find this information to see if it is factual for yourself. So, um, she says between 1843 and 1855, someone systematically replaced the Habsburg bloodline and someone ordered the evidence stored here, not destroyed, not stored. She sits back down at the metal table. Her hands are folded perfectly still. I told my supervisor in November 2020. My people, this is just 6 years ago that she's telling this somebody too. He looked at the measurements for 40 minutes. Then he closed my folder. He said the portraits were probably different subjects with similar names. Cataloging errors from the 1800s. She pauses, but I checked. Every portrait is documented. Subject, date, artist. The province is perfect. These are the same people. Or they supposed to be a car horn sound somewhere outside. 3 floors down. The sound takes a moment to reach room 47B. I measured Habsburg portraits from 1650 to 1840. She says, consistency across generations, normal aging, normal variation. Then 1843 hits, and suddenly the bone structures start changing across multiple family lines. Simultaneously, she opens a drawer in a metal table, pulls out a leather-bound journal. The binding is cracked. The pages are brown. This was stored with the paintings, anonymous, dated 1856. She opens to a marked page, reads aloud. The old faces are gone. The new faces are convincing. So they done changed the fucking people. They replaced them. But the bones remember. The bones always remember. The journal closes with a sound like a door shutting very far away. The next person who knows about this lives in Vienna's 3rd district, but she comes to the Hofburg every Tuesday, has been coming for 3 years. Marguerite Fischer is 81 years old. Her great-grandmother was a lady in waiting to Empress Maria Anna. To Empress Maria Anna. Court records confirm the position from 1843 to 1858. She's sitting in a room 47B. Now, Tuesday morning, the gray light makes her look older than she is. My great-grandmother kept a diary. Margaret says her German has a Viennese accent that makes certain words sound like music written in code. Family cipher. Took me 6 years to decrypt. She pulls out a notebook, marked and spiral bound. Her handwriting files 200 pages. She wrote about the changes started in 1845. She noticed the Archduchess looked different after her illness that sprung. Same name, same title, different face. Margaret's hands are steady when she turns the pages, but her voice drops. September 1847. She writes, the Duke returned from his hunting trip to the mountains, but he is not the Duke. His eyes are too wide. His hands are too large. We are to pretend nothing has changed. The fluorescent lights hum. Not so they were cloning people back then, and they had free energy back then. Margaret doesn't seem to notice Decipher 1848. 3 more have returned. 3 more are different. The servants see it. We are forbidden to speak of it. The Lady Chamberlain says, we will be sent away if we do not adjust. She closes the notebook. My great grandmother served in the court for 15 years. She knew these people. She dressed them. She saw them daily. And she documented that between 1845 and 1851, they changed physically, fundamentally. Margaret looks at the paintings on the shelf, Unit 7. She died in 1889. Natural causes, supposedly, but her last diary entry is strange. She opens up the notebook to the final fucking page. She said that she was old. They have let her keep her silence because she will soon die. But she is writing so someone will know. The tall people from the mountains came to the royal family, sent their own away willingly. The tall people from the mountains are the inner earth. So when you hear about the mountains, they're talking about the inner earth. The tall people came from the mountains, and the royal family sent their own away willingly. So that part could mean they sacrificed them so that they can continue living. They did a treaty. The treaty was the sacrifice of the people because there's always a contract somewhere. Why would they do this? What were they promised? The question hangs in the recycled air of storage room 47B. So, we was digging deep in room 47B, my people. So I brought the diary to the Austrian Historical Society in 2019. So the lady brought this diary into the Austrian Historical Society in 2019. COVID started in 2020. Marguerite says it was interesting, but probably fictional. Court gossip, the fantasies of an elderly servant. She stands, walks to the window. The glass is so dirty. The outside world looks like an old photograph. But then I meet Dr. Moravec. She showed me the measurements, the facial analysis, the bone structures, the changes, the turns back. My great grandmother wasn't fantasizing. She was documenting something that actually happened, a replacement, systematic, coordinated across the entire Habsburg line. So the replacement, the Habsburgs learned how to replace humans through sleeves, through cloning, however they did it. And it was a systematic because it was underground. It was in the cloning centers. So systematic. It was already a system set up that they learned from somebody else. And the system that they learned from somebody else was from Siberia. Siberia was on the other side. And it's not an ice wall. It was sunny skies every fucking day. It was temperatures that ranged from 70 degrees to a certain 100 temperature, but it was moderate for everyone that lived in that dimension. So a replacement, systematic, coordinated across the entire Habsburg line. Margaret sits back down. The metal chair squeaks. She wrote about where they came from, the tall people from the mountains, the tall people from the inner earth. She writes that phrase 17 times across 4 years. Always the mountains, never which mountains, always the inner earth, never which part of the inner earth. As if everyone knew, as if it didn't need to be specified. Dr. Moravec has been listening from the work-it. She speaks now. The ALAI mountains. So that's ALAI. Allah Mountains, that's what the bone structure suggests. Sounds like Allah Mountains to me, and that sounds like our people, you know, before the colors changed. We were green, purple, all types of nice, deeply shaded colors because we lived in a whole different type of atmosphere. The Allah Mountains, that's what the bone structure suggests. Central Asian. But we know that the Asians were our people. And they came in all different hues, all different colors. The proportions match populations from the Allah region. Margaret nods slowly. My great great grandmother wrote about their height. She says the replacements were taller. The men averaged over over you know, 2M. The women over 180 centimeters, unusual for 1840s Europe. And 1840s Europe was right here in the Americas. She opens the notebook again, finds a passage. The new Archduke hit his head on the door frame in the East Hall. He is too tall for the palace. They are all too tall. We're making adjustments. The gray light from the window shifts. Afternoon settling. After 1855, she stops writing about it as if it became normal, as if everyone adjusted to the new faces. She serves another 34 years serving the same fucking people. Dies in 1889. No mention of the replacements again. Margaret closes the notebook for the last time, but she kept the diary, hid it, passed it down. My grandmother gave it to me, my mother. My instructions kept this safe. Don't let them destroy it. I didn't understand what them meant until I started decrypting it. Architected emotionally, narrative arc with the historical flashback structure. Now, I need the pattern recognition moment. This needs to be emotional, not academic. By minute 1:2:1:15 of the video, then brief flashback to St. Petersburg. Then return to Vienna. Anchor Dr. Morovich is standing in front of the shelf unit 7. When it hits her, the pattern isn't just Habsburg. It can't be just Habsburg. Her hand starts shaking. The fluorescent light seems brighter suddenly. If this happened in Vienna, she says slowly, it happened elsewhere. The Russian Imperial Collection Street, the Russian Imperial Collection, St. Petersburg. The Hermitage has a storage facility, Archive 12. Portraits not on public display. She made inquiries. 3 months of emails. Finally, someone responded. Dr. Yelena Konstantinova, Constantinova. Konstantinova is a curator at the Hermitage. She's been in Archive 12 for 9 years. She doesn't like talking about what she found, but she sent Dr. Morovich photographs, 43 of them, Romangh family portraits, 1843 to 1854. Same pattern, same impossible bone structure, changes. Nicholas the 5 in 1845 has a skull width 7.5 centimeters narrower than Nicholas the FI in 1852. I measured them 4 times. Dr. Konstantinova wrote in her email, I thought I was making mistakes. It wasn't. I wasn't. She included a scanned document from the personal papers of Count Surgery, of Count Sergeyuvar, and the Count was a motherfucking a vampire, okay? Anytime you hear the Count, it's the vampire. That's the vampire clan. Minister of Education under Nicholas I. The document is dated May 1847. It reads, the arrangements with the delegation from the Allah territories are complete. The transfers will proceed as planned. So the Allah territories was our people. Our own people was selling their own people out at that time. So you see that somebody is always a slave to somebody else. And you can be sold off real quick. The transfers will proceed as planned. His Majesty has agreed to the terms. The benefits to the empire are deemed sufficient to justify adjustments. The word adjustments is underlined 3 times. Dr. Konstantinov email continues. Email, okay? They're emailing motherfuckers, okay? They've been emailing for a long fucking time. Vampires were emailing people, okay? Right here it says, Konstantinova's email continues. I showed this to my department head. He said it probably refers to diplomatic appointments, staff changes. I said timing matches the portrait anomalies. He said I should focus on my other projects. She was transferred to the Modern Art Wing 6 months later. Back in room 47B, Dr. Morovich has spread the photographs from St. Petersburg across the metal work table next to her own. Photographs of Habsburg portraits. The patterns match. The timing matches. The bone structure changes match. It wasn't just Vienna, she says. Her voice is barely above a whisper. It was systematic, coordinated across multiple royal houses at the same time. Margaret Fisher stands at the window. She hasn't moved in 5 minutes. My great-great-grandmother wrote about visitors 1846. She says, the Empress received a delegation private meeting. Empress is what the all dark-skinned people called themselves, all Haile Selassie, and that's what they're talking about, Haile, Halai. So Empress comes from the Jamaican part. So let's get deeper into this. She says the Empress received a delegation private meeting, no official record. The visitors were described as usually tall and dressed in a manner suggesting Eastern origins. Dr. Morovich pulls out another file. This one contains railway records from 1845 to 1850. There's a pattern in the rail shipments. Personal cargo listed as family effects moving from the Alpine regions to Vienna, St. Petersburg, Munich, Munich, Copenhagen, Copenhagen, all between 1844 and 1851. She points to the dates. The shipments are labeled with family crests. The shipments are labeled with family crests. That's why you have to have a crest on all your shit. But the weight is wrong. Family effects shouldn't weigh 90 kg per crate. That's the weight a person. That's the weight of a person. 90 kg per crate. That's the weight of a person. The silence in room 47B has a texture now, like something physical pressing against your ears. They move them by rail. Dr. Morovich says the originals out, the replacements in, and someone documented it. Someone kept records. Someone wanted this remembered. She sits down, her hands flat on the metal table. But here's what I can't understand. The original families, where did they go? My people, let's stop right there. The original families didn't go anywhere. They are still living in the inner earth, in the unactive volcanoes. That is how they stop aging process. Everything stops when you live in an inactive volcano. When you also live in submerged quarters or ships that are underwater, time doesn't exist underwater. It's maritime, so it's a different clock time. It's 4 digits instead of what they show you in Eastern Standard Time. So we are actually back in maritime because the clock, if anybody caught it, it already switched and it switched back to maritime. So we are on maritime law right now. So you would have to go look up maritime law to see how you got to operate. Okay, let's go on. But here's what I can't understand. The original families, where did they go? The diary suggests they went willingly. Okay, if they went willingly, how can you get someone's consent? Haven't we been tricked into willingly giving our consent? And see all the ways that they have willingly taken our consent without full disclosure? So that's what probably happened to them. Why would they give up their positions, their power, their entire identities? Isn't everything right now in 2026 about identity? If you have not corrected your identity, you have to go through the iris and give fingerprints for identity. So, Margaret turns from the window. The diary mentions a promise and offer. What are we in now? A promise and offer. They give us an offer and they promise things that they don't even can't deliver. And then they put the bill on you. My great-great-grandmother doesn't specify what it was, but she writes, they say the old families will live forever in the mountains. The old families will live forever in the inner earth. They say this is an exchange. Power for time, power for time. The phrase sits in the room like something alive. The next piece comes from someone who shouldn't have access to the room. 47B at all. Johann, Johan, Johann Weiss is 68. Wiseman's Trustee's Handbook. He worked as a portrait restorer for 40 years, contracted by the Hofburg from 1978 to 2018. All this is going on, my people, right now, while we running up and down our lives talking stupid shit with each other, we need to be focused on this shit right here, what I'm talking about. This is how they replace you. Okay, he's been in the room 47p hundreds of times. Here's He's here now. Tuesday afternoon. The light from the windows has turned gold. I noticed it in the 1980s. He says he's standing in front of a painting 23, France, Joseph II, 1843. The paint composition was wrong. Johann's voice is rough. Decades of turpentine exposure. When you restore a painting, turpentine. She just told you the whole fucking shit. Johann's voice is rough. Decades of turpentine exposure when you restore a painting. You analyze the paint chemical composition, dating authentication. Why do you think you have to get documents authenticated? That's how you know what materials to use for repair. He points to the 1843 portrait. The paint matches the period 1843. Lead white, bone black, natural ultramarine. Exactly what you'd expect from the Anton Ensler, Anton, first name, last name, Einsler. Then he points to the 1851 portrait. This paint is newer. Chemical analysis dates it to 1847, 1848, but it's signed and dated in 1851. So somebody either uncovered it or sold it, and the new buyer of it is the owner. He lets that sit. Someone painted this portrait in 1847. So, chemical analysis dates, okay, but it's signed and dated. So, the portrait, which could have been, okay, hold on, let's walk. He lets that sit. Someone painted this portrait in 1847, then backdated it to 1851. Why would they do that? Johann walks along the shelf, Unit 7. His hands move from the painting to painting, touching the frames gently. I found the same discrepancy in 31 paintings, all from this collection, all showing replacement faces. So the painting, they had a painter come in and repaint faces. Okay, so they had to white out the section, and then they had the painter paint their face in on whatever it is that the document they were using. So, discrepancy in 31 paintings, all from this collection, all showing the replacement faces, all painted 3-4 years before their official dates. So, it was all plotted out. He stops at painting 34. This one is the strangest, Art Duchess Sophia. ARCH, Duchess, DUCHES, Sophia, SOPHIE, dated 1852. But the canvas is from 1846. I know because I analyzed the weave pattern. Canvas production changed in 1847. This is pre-1847 canvas. Johann sits on the edge of the metal work table. His weight makes it creak. Someone commissioned these paintings in advance. Painted the replacement faces free. 4 years before the actual replacements occurred. then backdated them, created a false historical record. Dr. Morovich has been making notes. Her handwriting is precise. You're saying these are a plan years in advance? There was a plan years in advance, at least 4 years. Johann says maybe longer. You don't paint 47 portraits casually. You don't date back them by accident. This was organized, funded, someone with significant resources. He stands, walks to the window, looks out at Vienna. I tried to publish my findings in 1994. Journal of Art Historical Analysis. The review took 11 months. They rejected it, said my methodology was sound, but my conclusions were historically in a bank, grabbing branch. All the chemical analysis, all the proof that 47 paintings were dated back, all the evidence that someone planned this replacement years in advance. Dr. Marovic picks up the key. It's warm. It's warm from Johann's pocket. Why now? She asks. Johann looks at the paintings one more time because measured because I measured my own skull last month. Family photographs from the 1960s compared to the recent photos, the proportions have changed. Not as dramatically as the paintings, but changed. He walks towards the door. Whatever happened between 1843 and 1855 didn't stop. It's slower now, more subtle, but it's still happening, and someone needs to document it before everyone forgets what we used to look like. So we even forgot what we look like. The sound echoes in room 447B for longer than it should. Prioritize immersive sensory experience over technical exposition. Need the personal verification moment here. Investigator experiences the impossible firsthand, should be sensory, emotional, not technical. Dr. Morovich has the key to box 447. She's walking through Vienna's first district at 6:47 a.m. The sky is the color of old steel. Astor Bank opens at 8 a.m. Aster Bank opens up at 8 a.m. The safe deposit boxes are in the basement. The clerk asks for 2 forms of identification. She provides them. Box 447 is in section C, row 12. The key turns smoothly. The boxes slide out. Inside 3 leather binders, each one containing approximately 200 pages of a chemical analysis report, paint composition, canvas dating, wood panel, dendrochronology, dendrochronology, spectral analysis, every test confirming what Johann said, 47 paintings all, dated back by 4 years. But there's something else in the box. A photograph, black and white, dated on the back, June 1989. The photograph shows 12 men, formal dress, standing in front of a BAROQUE barbecue building. The building is the Hofburg. The men are arranged by height, tallest in the center, shortest on the ends. The men in the center are over 2 m tall. Their bone structure is distinctive, Central Asian features, wide skulls, deep set eyes, high cheekbones, written on the back in Johann's writing. Restoration, Conference Vienna, 1989. I didn't notice it then, I notice it now. 9 of these 12 men matched the bone structure of the replacement portraits. So the replacement is always planned out. So they're replacing people right now. The administration that is in charge right now has a replacement made for everybody. So Dr. Morovich is standing in the basement of Earthy Bank. The photograph is in her hands. Her breath is visible in the cold air. The replacements aren't historical, they're current, back in room 47B. She's comparing the photograph to the paintings. The bone structure matches, not exactly, but close enough, as if the 1851 faces evolved into the 1989 faces. You see what I'm saying? That's what they're doing. Your face can be erased off of anything that they control. And if they can't control it, then they will make sure that they burn your shit, because that's what they do. And they're fucked up people. And that's really high treason karma on the spiritual realm for anybody that does that. That's why you see a lot of sickness right now, because of all the things that they have done. So, my people, Margaret Fisher is here. She's been looking at the photograph for 20 minutes. Her daughter says quietly, "My daughter married a man from Alpine regions. He's 2.1 millimeters tall. His bone structure is," she stops, starts again. "His bone structure matches these paintings. The room is very cold. The temperature dropped when they opened. Johann's binders, Dr. Morovich has been measuring the 1989 photography compared to the descendants of Habsburg." Okay? And this is in 1989. And this is now the year 2026. The portraits are shifting slowly, constantly toward the bone structure in the replacement portraits. It's not a replacement anymore, she says. It's an integration, a slow genetic integration across generations. Margaret sets the photograph down. "My great great grandmother wrote Power for Time. The original families went to the mountains. The original families went into the inner earth. The inner earth families came to the cities. In exchange, she looks at the paintings. But what if it wasn't an exchange? What if it was a merger?" Okay, so humans were traded as a merger? What if both groups are still here? They are still here. One is on the surface and one is in the inner earth. The original bloodlines preserved somewhere, the replacement bloodline slowly becoming everyone. The fluorescent lights flicker just once, then steady. Again, Dr. Moravec opens her laptop, shows a genetic study from 2019. Central European population genetics. There's an anomaly in the data, a genetic signature appearing in Austrian, German, and Russian populations. It's classified as ALTAIC, Altaic, marker set. The frequency, Altaic, okay, increased from 3% in 1900s to 17% in the 2000s. That is a real spike of the frequency. So the frequency, when it changes and goes higher, the bone structure of people on the planet at that given time changes because the atmosphere changes. So The genetics classify it as natural migration, population blending over time. But look at the concentration. It's highest in families with documented Habsburg connections, family with ties to royal courts, families who were in positions of power in the 1840s. The data is clear. The genetic structure is spreading not randomly, deliberately through specific family lines, through maintained connections. Someone is managing this. Dr. Moravec says someone has been managing this for 180 years. So these people have been in power over what you see right now for 180 years, maintaining the integration, ensuring the genetic signature spread through targeted marriages, through position families, through in she stops, looks at Margaret, your daughter. When did she marry? 2008. Where did she meet him? At a conference. He was presenting research on alpine architecture, medieval construction techniques. They look at each other across the metal table. The pattern isn't just historical, the pattern is active, present, ongoing. The last piece comes in an envelope delivered to room 47B on Wednesday morning in March 2024. This is just 2 years ago, people. No return address, Viennese postmark, inside a letter handwritten German, dated 1923. This 2 years ago, this letter was found. The letter is from Graf Ernest von Hohenberg, died 1924, Austrian nobleman, Habsburg, connection through marriage. The letter is addressed to whoever finds the paintings. Dr. Moravec reads it aloud, a voice steady. I am writing this. This person is writing this at age 73. They'll be dead within months. Heart failure, the doctors say, but she knows it is age. She said they age differently now since the changes. The letter continues. She was 19 in 1847. She served as a page in the imperial court. She was present when the first transfers occurred. She watched. Archduke, Archduke, Wilhelm, Wilhelm, leave through the eastern gates in May 1847. She watched someone else return 3 weeks later wearing the Wilhelm's face. Almost the resemblance was extraordinary, but she knew it wasn't him. She laughed. She was different. His laugh was different. His gait was different. The way he held his hands was different. But we were told to accept the new Wilhelm. We were told this was for the empire's future. The letter describes 12 replacements, all between 1846 and 1851, all following the same pattern. The original leaves, the replacement arrives, everyone adjusts. They came from the mountains, the inner earth. That is what we were told. The mountain families, they had something we needed. We had something they needed. The exchange benefit both. What they had was time, longevity, and the ability to live for centuries without aging. Because if you live in an inactive volcano, aging stops. That's where spaceships can fly in the inner volcanoes, in the inactive volcanoes. That's where the galactic life really is. It's in the inactive volcano. So So it says what they had was time, longevity, the ability to live for centuries without aging. The mountain families claim lineages spanning 2,000 years, unbroken, preserved. What we had was position, power, access to the structures of European governance, the ability to influence nations, space policy, control resources. The agreement was this: the original families would go to the mountains, go to the inner earth, learn the secrets of extended life. The mountain families would take their positions, maintain their power, and over generations, the two bloodlines would merge. Both would have both would have both time and power. The letters handwriting gets shakier. She's 73 years old. Her father lived to 71. Her grandfather is 68. But I have friends whose great grandfathers were among the replacements. Those families, their elders lived to 140 years in remote villages, not publicized, but alive, functioning, remembering. The merge is working. In another 100 years, there will be no distinction. Everyone in the old families will carry both bloodlines, time and power, preserved together. I write this because someone should know this is not betrayal. This is not replacement. This was a contract, and both sides are honoring it. The letter is signed. The treaty is signed. The letter was the treaty, and the contract was honored by both sides. The surface world and the inner world. So, Graf Ernest von Hohenberg, December the 4th, 1923. Below the signature, one final line: check the Alps, check the remote valleys. The originals are still there, teaching their descendants what they learned, waiting for the integration to complete. Integration. That is what we're in right now. We are being integrated. The surface is being integrated with the inner. They are merging as one right now. So you're going to see a lot of things on the surface. You know what I'm saying? And then the inner people that are living in the inner earth right now are going to see a lot of us in the inner earth, because we're now allowed to go in. The green light, for all those that know about the green light, and if ever in their life they've ever seen a green light, and we know what type of green light, so they know. And most of the people that have seen the green light a certain way, they know that you are a chosen one, straight up. And you have the ability to go and come by way of green light. What they learned waiting for the integration to complete. Dr. Moravec sets the letter down on the metal table. Margaret Fisher is crying, silent tears. She doesn't wipe them away. My daughter's husband, she says, he visits a village in the Tyrol every summer. He says it's family tradition. He's never invited us to come. The gray light from the windows makes the tears look silver. Room 47B is quiet. The paintings hang on their metal shelves, face out, watching, waiting. Dr. Marvick has been here 5 years. She knows these faces, the originals. The originals. The originals. They have a lot of shows called The Originals. The replacements, the slow transformation visible across 47 portraits. She knows something else now. This wasn't a crime. It was a contract. But questions remain. Who initiated this agreement? Who represented the mountain families in the 1840s negotiations? Who represented the inner earth people, inner earth families in the 1840 negotiations? So None of this is about an alien of how you think. What convinced the Habsburgs and Roman of lines to accept the terms? What exactly did the originals learn in the mountains, in the inner earth? How many are still alive? Where precisely in the Alps are they living? What happens when the integration completes? What happens when everyone carries both bloodlines? And who is managing the integration now? Who's managing? That's a great question. Who's managing the integration now of the changing of the species, of the bloodlines? The letter from 1923 suggests an ongoing organization, someone tracking bloodlines, someone arranging marriages, someone ensuring the genetic structure spread according to plan. Johann's 1989 photograph suggests that organization is operational, active, still recruiting, still managing. Margaret's daughter suggests it's working. The bloodlines are merging. The families are integrating, time and power converging. Dr. Morovich looks at painting 23, France, Joseph II, 1843. The original face, strong jawline, Central European features, mortal. Then painting 24, France, Joseph II, 1851. The replacement face, wider. You see, these people were looking to see how they were being replaced and basically robbed of their birthright. So, um, the replacement face, wider skull. Central Asian features different, both faces part of the same lineage, now both faces in the same families, faces in the same DNA. The contract is 180 years old. If Graf Ernest was correct, it needs another 100 years to complete by 2123. The plot thickens. Okay, so this is happening right now, y'all. They are trying to they have a contract that's been going on for 180 years that they're merging the bloodline. They're going to need another 100 years to complete this. So they're saying by 2123, the integration will be total. Everyone in the old families will carry both time and power, longevity and position, but storage room 47B remains. Someone decided these portraits shouldn't be destroyed. Someone wanted the transformation documented. Someone wanted future researchers to find this. Maybe this was part of the contract too. Full transparency, complete documentation for whoever comes after. Do you understand what's going on now in the whole Trump administration? They're fighting and will continue the fight for the next 2 years to stay in power. Despite whatever is on a public record, whatever's in a constitution, whatever treaties, they are going to break them to stay in power. And this is the proof that I'm reading to you right now. So it says right here, should we say this again? Someone wanted future researchers to find this. Maybe this was part of the contract too. Full transparency, complete documentation for whoever comes after. Margaret Fisher still comes to the room 47B every Tuesday. She's still decrypting sections of her great great grandmother's diary, still finding new pages, still learning what servants observe. Dr. Marovich still measures portraits, still documents bone structures changes, still builds the database. Johann Weiss's chemical analysis are now in 3 leather binders on the metal work table. Evidence that 47 paintings were created years before their official dates, proof of advanced planning, proof of organized, proof of proof of organization. The fluorescent lights hum at 47 hertz. So they had free energy. The hum was the frequency, and it was at a low 47 hertz. The windows face north. So it's north. The gray light makes everything look like memory. In this room, the evidence suggests replacement, but the evidence also suggests contract. So to be replaced, you have to give someone consent within a contract. And haven't that they've been doing that to everybody right now? No full disclosure. They put a contract in front of you, sign away your mortgage, sign away your car, whatever it is, and you sign it. Both things are true. Both things happened. The royal families of Europe were replaced, but they were replaced with their own consent for a promise. And who promises right now? The Federal Reserve. It sounds like the Habsburgs, but they changed their names. So, consent for a promise, for time, for the secrets of the mountain people or the inner earth families carried for 2,000 years. And somewhere in the remote valleys of the Alps, the originals are still there. Yes, they are still there. They haven't gone anywhere. They're still bartering and trading. Whatever they are going to barter and trade, that's what they do. So you have to look at what they're bartering and trading right now. Still teaching, still waiting, still honoring the contract. The door to room 47B is oak. The handle is brass. The lock still works. The paintings remain face out. 47 transformations, 47 pieces of a 180-year merger. This has been a merger. Everyone has signed a contract to be auctioned off. The auctioneer is the banker and the broker. And they hold the contract that you consented to unless you revoke your power, unless you revoke their power over the contract. So someone hung them here so someone would find them. You found them. Now, what are you going to do? Well, my people, you could get into these classes, 407-300-5377, because, I done took you there all around the world in like an hour and a half right now, just dropping it on you. No one drops it like the United States private enterprise free state, my people. No one will give you information of like what you just heard right now. We in there. We in the archives. You know what I'm saying? We walking through these corridors and down these hallways and through these doorways. You know what I'm saying? We in there reading these ancient scripts and textures, and you know what I'm saying? You need a consultation. $25 consultation, 25 minutes, 407-300-5377, my people. You got to get down with the United States Private Enterprise Free State. This is the only place where you get the real lowdown, where you get the real nitty gritty, where we go into the dungeon, beyond the dungeon, to bring out the most shattering information that you've ever heard. as evidence that proves what we're saying is totally right and correct. So, my people, I just dropped a boatload of what you needed to hear. You could do your own research, your own due diligence. But we gave it to you 407 300 5377. Okay. We got a lot going on over here, yo, my people. It's a lot going on. So, the best place to be right now would be the inner earth. You know what I'm saying? But you see that every military base, as you can see it, is sitting right by or over or somewhere near an inactive volcano. So I don't know how you're going to get in, because you have to have certain documentation. And yeah, um, wow, it's deep, because you need the documentation to enter their atmosphere if you're trying to exit one atmosphere into another. Straight up, it's deep. It's a movement. It's how you move, and when you start moving, you're gonna have everything. You're gonna have it at will, because you don't know. Anytime anything can happen right now. So if they taking anything and they moving it around, you're gonna have to move with it. You're gonna have to groove with it. You're gonna have to do what you gotta do. Because if you don't, you either will get bagged up in it, because you have to have certain credentials to even stay. Because you see how ICE is just coming in on people, and, you know, not doing things nicely. And it's not even about, it's just about, they just straight up at war right now. So this has been going on all the time, right in front of your face. But being that we all get caught up in something else that really doesn't, is not really, really important like that, yeah, you build your family, but you got to really be seeing the whole picture. So basically, the whole picture is going on right in front of your face right now. You can't even see it, but you think it's real because you go and you sit at a movie theater and you watch it, or you may turn it on your TV in your house and you watch it. Yes, it's telling you a whole bunch of shit that's real, but you could stay, you can stay with that right there, paralyzed in that one dimension with it, or you silver surf the galaxy and you journey through it and you really see it for yourself. Now, props can be made, and props are always made up. Okay. What you're seeing right now is a prop. You know what I'm saying? So at any moment, you are on a movie set. The movie set consists of what your brain is focusing on at that given time. So whatever your brain is focusing on at that given time is. Sometimes it takes longer. But the bottom line is that if you focus on the bag, if you focus on the cheddar, if you focus on the end goal, because the end goal, you see right now, you got the Patriots battling out the Seahawks. So you got um Portland, Seattle battling out. Is Seattle part of America? Because you know, The other team is here. The Patriots is right here in America. So you got the Americans battling foreigners right now in the football game. The two teams. One is foreign, one is domestic. That's the battle that's going on right now. Foreign and domestic. It's a battle. So that is why you have to be, I can't say it over the air, but you have to do what you're going to have to do. The football game will determine who wins. So if Seattle wins, that's foreign. If the Patriots win, it's domestic. We've won. Let's see who wins. This is a game that everybody will be watching. Basically, I'm sure we're gonna turn this shit on YouTube and we're gonna be tuned in to this game because this is the game right now between public and private. The real natural living people against the shisty ass commercial, you know who. So let's see who wins, my people. If you are a living live person and have already corrected your status, then we are the Patriots. The Patriots. So let's give that love energy into the Patriots, my people, so we can win this Super Bowl tonight. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's going to move. Even if it's not tonight, whatever night it comes up. We moving like that. We about to do it like that. We taking this shit straight up, y'all. 407-300-5377. This is the United States Private Enterprise Free State in on the check on. And this has been another public announcement.